Hey, Ivan. Where are you going?
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad. Thank you. I am just waiting for the guys to hop on here. Your
Thanks for
evening going well?
yes.
Awesome.
Stuck around at the office so there was peace and quiet so I could do this live.
Awesome. Well, so like Caleb, we kind of joke a little bit that Caleb, since his internet is currently, he's working on it, but currently it's better at his place of employment that he goes back to work to be on the live.
Yes.
It's quite entertaining.
Hey,
Are you at work or
I
at
agree.
home, Caleb?
I'm at work.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm at work.
Yep.
Can you hear me? Yeah. How are
I
y'all
do
doing?
it.
Yes, I know. I was like, I can't test it tonight. So we got new internet. But I can't test it tonight. So I'll test it throughout the week, and then next week I'll be at home. Yes, but how are y'all doing?
Good. Good. Thanks for asking. How are you guys?
Good.
I am.
Very, very good.
I'm tired. We're trying to get the potato ready for the show this weekend, and he is not being cooperative. Christina, the potato I'm referring to is my pocket bully. He is a like a red sable, a red
Okay.
smut. He is willful. He's definitely he's a character. So it's one of those where I went from having an XL bully, a big old, derpy darling dog that did whatever I want. He's just like, okay, that's what we're doing now. Whatever I wanted, all the shows and he was great, did great, does everything
What's happening,
I
guys?
want him to. And now the potato is a total 180 from that. So he's giving me a run for my money.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
sounds like a bulldog.
Yeah, actually, I bet. I bet you that's where that comes from. Because man, he's just like, no, I'd rather sit. I'm like, really? I have a cookie? No.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's see here, Bruce. Hey,
What's
man.
happening? Hey, how y'all doing?
Good
Hi,
to.
Bruce.
I'm a little late. Caleb usually be late. I usually beat him.
That's all right. Every once in a while, I accidentally started off a little late, so I guess we're actually on a good note right now because it's only 8:01. So, um, so without any further ado, thank you for joining us. We have someone special tonight, so we definitely want to give a great welcome to her. So how we do this is we like you to introduce yourself to our viewers. Describe your, what you do, your kennel name or your business name if you have one. You have a business that you work through, and then how you got into the breed or breeds plural that you're into now.
So my name is Christina. I live in Illinois. My kennel name is Ace Bulldogs. It is in memory of my husband who passed away in 2017. And I started with English Bulldogs. When I married him, I got my first bulldog. His name was also Ace. And that just spiraled out of control. My mother-in-law had bred English in her younger days. So when I married into the family, I kind of just inherited my first dog, and then the rest is history. I had never had dogs in my life, so having this big slobbery thing following me around, I was like, okay, I think I could get used to this. And then his personality just won me over. Like the slobber didn't matter anymore. It was more of like, hey, I know you need me. I'm here. Can I come sit next to you? And I'm like, how do you know? Like, get out of my head.
Right. Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then in 2018, I picked up my first Frenchie. And then after that, it was just game over. It's like I fell in love with the Frenchie breed.
Oh,
I mainly do English, but I do dabble into the Frenchies, but my specialty is English.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, no, beautifully done, beautifully done. So what we like to do is obviously we're gonna get our questions in because we have questions for you because we're just really interested in like I mean really your breeds because it's pretty common knowledge that bulldogs, English bulldogs, Old English, even American bulldogs were actually used to create the American bully, which is a breed that we all own. So we're really interested in finding out more about the English bulldog in specific. So I know we're going to have our questions, but we also accept questions from the viewers and everything like that. I'm sure that those questions will definitely come trickling in. Start off with you, Caleb. You got. I
Well,
know
the
you got
English and the
questions.
Frenchie, the English and the Frenchie, like what a difference in personalities and things like that. Like, tell us the difference in between the two and how the two came about. I know the English, but with the Frenchie, how did that Frenchie come about? And what's the difference between the temperaments of the two?
Honestly, I think the English to me is a big baby.
Yeah.
Like they're just very calm, very nonchalant. They don't care. I feel like my Frenchies are the rambunctious
Yeah.
one.
Gotcha.
They want to bite. They want to bite the English ear and they want to nibble at their feet and they want to bug them. And my English just looks at them and they're like, dude, like get a life, like leave me alone. And they're really very patient. At least mine are. My kids can hang on their necks and they're fine. Um, Never any aggression, never any growling.
That's
And my
awesome.
kids get pretty finicky, like touching tails. And everybody knows don't touch a dog's tail.
Right, right.
Um, they're very tolerant. The Frenchies, they get a little bit more reactive. I know my son, he's 3. He went to go touch my Frenchie female's back rear end area. She did
Uh-oh.
not like it, and
Yeah.
she let him know. He never did it again. But I
That's
feel like
yeah.
Yeah.
to me the English seem to have more patience. They're like an old soul, the best I can describe it.
Yeah.
I can.
I
Hey,
like that.
you got to have patience for English because I tried English once, and it's it's a lot of work, involved in English dog. I thought it wasn't, but I learned a lot, about me just stepping into it. Um, you can't bathe them all the time. You have to clean their wrinkles, and I use witch hazel a lot to clean, And a lot of people said English bulldogs are lazy. They're not lazy. Mine was like hyper. And I don't know if you noticed them, but they back leg is like made straight down. So when they go up steps, they can't walk up a step. They have to run. You ever pay that any attention? They have to
You're
run up the
running,
steps.
starting
They have to,
fast.
yeah, they have
They,
to. They can't,
they
they
kind
can't
of
walk up the
hop.
steps. They have to run.
They
But
they have to get a running start and then
yeah,
they hop.
yeah, yeah, right. But the worst thing that I hate about it, when you start giving them food from your plate, from
Game
then
over.
on, they will drool from their
Oh,
mouth and slop. Man, look, it was slop all in my ceiling from English
Yep.
Bulldog.
oh,
I'm telling
I'm
you,
I'm
man,
I'm painting
man.
my kitchen right now, and I'm finding slobber in areas where I'm like, how did this get up
Yeah.
here?
Why is there
What,
slobber
what,
behind
in
the
this?
what,
oven. I have found dog
Yeah,
slobber behind the oven.
hey,
it's
well,
like
look, I'm gonna ask you.
goobers
This
of
is this,
slobber.
this is my question. What did you do from all the hair shedding on the English Bulldog?
So
Because that's different.
have an I have an industrial size mop, kind of like the ones that janitors use
Yeah.
in the school. And it takes me 5 minutes to sweep mop my entire living room and kitchen area, which is where we mainly spend all of our time. Um, they're not allowed in my kids' bedrooms. My daughter's allergic. Crazy enough, she developed allergies like 14 years in after having dogs. And I was like, honey, like, we can't get rid of our babies. Like, those are our babies. And she's like, Mom, I understand. I don't want you to get rid of them. So we have the bedrooms off limits. So they get the living room, kitchen, dining room, foyer. But in that open area, I sweep mop with that large mop, and it literally takes me 5 minutes. I used to do it with a broom, and it would take me like an hour. So
Yeah.
That's about right.
I pile all that hair up, and then just either vacuum it with the vacuum or use a quick wet wipe and pick it up right away. Because yes, it's
Hey,
like dust bunnies.
hey, I
Correct.
just I thought something was wrong with my English Bulldog because I see people have them in their bed. And I said, well, they dog must don't say it like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying
Yeah.
though, I'm not being picky, but I'm just saying I
Yeah.
didn't allow my dog on furniture or nothing, but I knew all that hair. I was just thought it was my English Bulldog, you know.
No, usually like my work attire, I always have hair on it. Like it everywhere has hair, sweaters, pants, shirts, it doesn't matter. You have like it's an added accessory, I call it.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I have dogs. The only thing that I do know once a year, and it's usually going in from winter into spring, they do shed a lot, and that's because they don't get as much vitamin D during the winter,
Oh,
that their hair
yeah.
isn't, getting all the nutrients that it needs to get. So then they really do have heavy shedding. Usually by spring it goes back to normal because now they're sunbathing and they're back outside, they're doing what they love most. But I do notice that very heavy shedding.
Yeah.
Oof, man. Well, so because I'm assuming not only so you breed them. Okay, perfect. Well, because Josh asked a really, really good question, and
Yes.
Loki, I was going to ask. So it's actually, I'll let him have this one. But he was saying, what do you think the number one rule in breeding English Bulldogs is? What's going to make my life easy during whelping, in contrast to the other breeds?
I like to, first of all, make sure that what I'm breeding is clear health-wise.
Mhm.
You want to make sure mom doesn't have a vaginal infection that could transfer over to the puppies that can later be E. coli and wipe out your entire litter.
Yeah.
So I like to start off with DNA testing for both mom and dad. Once that's clear, I like to clean out my females beforehand. Usually I do sulfaxin and like clavamox to kind
Okay.
of clean out the vaginal and your uterus area. And then make sure that everything that you're doing with your AIs or TCIs, or if you're doing surgical, make sure everything's sterile and clean, and your environment is clean. You obviously don't want to collect the dog and with that same glove go in for the AI because you now have a bunch of germs from the stud.
Right.
And you're introducing them into the vaginal canal. So sometimes when they get, infections or PIO, it's got a lot to do with not being clean.
Yeah.
And so this is all before you do the AI, like the clavamox and all that.
Yes, usually when they start bleeding, I like to start that, I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 days into their cycle. That would give me enough time before, they actually ovulate, and then I go to perform the AI. Clean them out. Definitely clean them out. A lot of females carry E. coli, and we don't know it. And usually when we have a litter that passes away completely and the vets are like, well, I don't know what happened. A lot of the times the puppies get E. coli from the mother's discharge or stuff like that, because they
Right.
discharge
Yeah.
after C-section. So all of that is in their whelping area. If you don't keep it clean, they get it. Their immune system isn't built up correctly, so they're susceptible to death.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Hey,
And
hey, Josh has a follow-up question too about the surgical. You still do the flush out before the surgical AI anything?
Yes, I would. I mean, it's really kind of like maintenance for the female. When a woman goes to get pregnant, she does everything in her power to make sure that her uterus is in tip-top shape to carry a baby, right? So why wouldn't you do the same for your female if you want to have 100% success with your litter? And it's 2 antibiotics. It'll cost you $30. to make
Right.
sure that your litter is 100% clean and safe and ready to go. Like, if you can't invest $30 in you know, breeding, it's like, what are you breeding for?
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, yeah. And so obviously, like, during that part, you go ahead, you get, you already have the AI, whether it be, AI or surgical. You've gone ahead and confirmed. Obviously, C-section is pretty much a must when it comes to English Bulldogs
Yes.
and Frenchies as well.
What about
Yes.
Frenchies as well? Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
I have heard of a lot of people saying that they deliver at home and that their female did great and all the puppies survive. I'm not willing to take that chance. God forbid that a puppy gets stuck in the birth canal and then I lose my mom and all my babies. It's not worth it. And then why make them go through all the stress of labor? Like, labor is not
No.
easy. And if they're delivering 7, 8, 10 puppies, 5 puppies, like, Lord, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's a lot of
absolutely.
stress.
Hey, Josh also asked a question about, and he said that understanding all bulldogs have to have C-section. I thought they did too. So you telling me they can have natural?
I have heard of people delivering, yes, naturally, and puppies surviving. I don't take that chance.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of the statistic that did not make it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I value my females. I love them, and I'm not willing to take that chance and putting them through hell pretty much. So,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
yes,
Well, and so, like, is the care any different, like, considering how they're built, anything like that, as far as, like, while they're pregnant? Because obviously these girls get big, especially if they're, carrying, a significant number of puppies. So it's like, at one point, it's miserable to watch. I mean, let's just go ahead and be honest. You're like, oh, baby, I'm so sorry. Like, but is there any like alleviation that's like pretty key for a dog that's built like a English Bulldog or a French Bulldog?
I think you really just have to know your female. If you're in tune with your female, you'll pick up on a lot of cues for things that bother them. I have females that are make it a breeze. They don't care. It's like a-okay with them. And then I have females that are really finicky and
Yeah.
picky and they won't eat and they'll starve themselves. And I have to literally spoon feed them in order for them to get the nutrients that they need to uphold the pregnancy. And it's like, if you're not watching your female, she's going to starve. And if she starves, she's going to abort the litter. And if she aborts the litter, now you have a miscarriage. So
And you
if
still
you're
have to deal
not
with
paying,
that too.
yeah, and if you're not paying attention to them, or if you're not in tune with your female, you're going to miss those signs. And then you're going to be like, oh, my female miscarried. Well, why? Was she not getting nutrients? Was she not getting the diet that she needed? Some get really uncomfortable. We usually crate at night for bed, and then in the morning they free roam our home. But some of them don't want to go in the crate, and I totally get it. Like, hey, I'm 63 days in or 58 days in. Like,
Have you
I
seen
want
this?
right. So, like,
Yeah.
I listen to them. If they want to sleep on top of the kitchen vent and the kitchen floor because it's cold, go
Yeah.
ahead, girlfriend, knock your socks off. If
Right.
they want like 3 more pillows than the fluffy bed that they have in there, sure, I'll
There you
get
go,
you
baby.
another
Yeah.
pillow. Yeah.
Hey, I
Um,
got a question from you, for you. We was talking on this a few lives ago, that some dogs absorb puppies. Do you think the nutrients they get from their food, do you think that's some of the problem also? Pup absorption?
I have had pup absorption maybe like 2 or 3 times. I asked my vet what his professional opinion on that was.
Yeah.
And he said that it could be a lot of things. It could be stress. It could be, malnourishment, like they're not getting enough of the nutrients that they need to support the pregnancy. Or he said that it could be that the babies were not developing correctly and they weren't going to be full term, good, healthy babies, that her body just reabsorbs them.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, without a necropsy, they can't really tell you why they absorb them, or why they don't make it. But he did give me those 3 pointers, and I guess I just load them up with vitamins and supplements while they're pregnant, and then after just, keep everything in
Calm and
check and up
comfortable.
to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What vitamins and supplements do you add to try to, help prevent that?
So I like to give them Be Strong. I give them Be Strong every day.
Okay.
But during their pregnancy, I like to also add the prenatal pills, either bitch pills or Oxy Mama, I
Yeah.
think it is.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes I alternate between the two, one day one, one day the other, with the addition of the Be Strong. I like to add a little bit of Dine into their food.
Okay.
If my mom is picky, like I have
Yeah.
a picky mama, right? I have to give her wet food mixed in with her
Make her
kibble, and it
eat
has
it.
to be like to get her to eat it. And I know that as she gets closer to the end of her pregnancy, she'll get picky on me again, and then I'll have to go to like adding raw beef on top of her food and mixing it with the wet food.
Yeah.
Slow it
Um,
rotten a little bit.
yeah, so just different things to get her to eat. Um,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it for vitamins that I do.
I mean, that sounds pretty well rounded. I can see why you've got a really good track record. Now, so you've already got your surgical done. How many, or AI, whichever the case may be, how many days do you actually start, or before you start, because I'm assuming you reverse progesterone test. Okay. When do you start doing that?
So my vet likes to schedule us for C-section 63 days from ovulation. He swears by it, and I swear by him. I love him. He's never steered me wrong. So I like to pinpoint ovulation. I do progesterone test myself at home. So if I have a female and I know she's getting close to, that time of ovulation, I don't mind testing her back to back to back to back to back until I get that ovulation number.
Yeah.
I like to be pretty precise. I'm a little crazy, but that number means everything to me, because then I can report back to him and I can tell him, hey, on this day at this time, she ovulated.
Right.
63 days from today, please. And it's worked out every time.
I mean, again, you seem to have this, down pretty well. Josh is asking if you mean from ovulation, the count that you're using. Is it from ovulation? And ovulation is 5?
Ovulation varies by vet. Some say 5, some say 10. I like to be somewhere in the middle between like 6 and 7. So I guess it kind of just depends on your repro specialist. I was told 5 when I first started. So, that's always kind of like the magic number, but anywhere between 5 and 10, according to my vet.
And that's on the IDEX. That's on the IDEX machine.
Yes,
Okay.
IDEX.
Okay.
Excellent. That's wow. So you have your own progesterone machine. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I try.
Absolutely. What would you say was the largest litter you've had so far? When was it? Was it an English Bulldog or a Frenchie? I mean, it's probably an English Bulldog for me.
Yes, it was English, and it was 9 puppies.
Nice.
It was crazy. That was a lot of
Yeah.
that was a lot of puppies, and mom didn't have milk right away, so I had
Oh,
to,
no.
supplement 9 puppies, and then like on the 5th day, her milk finally came in, and she was a great mom. So I know she just needed me to pick up that slack for a little bit, but
Yeah.
she reared those babies very well.
Now for
Yeah.
those that period of time, that short period of time, obviously the panic sets and you're like, oh, mama has no milk. Oh God.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
obviously, so there's typically like a first step that everyone has their go-to. What is yours? Like, what's that first line of oh crap, get this done, get this in.
Ask if anybody has frozen dog breast milk. I know it's kind of weird, like why would people have frozen breast milk, but some people do.
That's right.
And that is so much better than the formula that you can buy at the store. The formula is almost always like my last resort. If I can't find someone that has mama's milk, then I have to go to that. But I did find mama's milk, and that held them over because they don't eat that much when they're that tiny. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very little and they're full. And what we want is that colostrum that the moms give them to build up that immune system. So the formula, it says it has colostrum. I don't believe it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I mean,
But
it's
And you know
just
what?
personal
Um,
preference. I prefer the
yeah,
gold.
it's a colostrum being, yeah.
Yeah.
Find out
Um,
a female will produce colostrum, and you can get colostrum from the female and freeze it, and it will last. And like so, the next time come along, you can throw it out, and it'll be just as like she, come right out the bag.
store
I just found that
the
out the
next.
other day. Yeah, I just found that out
Yep.
the other day.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
That's
crazy.
what I like to do. Some females like overproduce milk to where, their puppies are feeding and they'll have a letdown in their teats and the milk is just dripping out. So
Yeah.
just grab a
Yeah.
little cup or a little, vial or something and catch it, freeze it.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce. Hey, Bruce, you're
Yeah.
breaking up real bad. And I was very interested in what you just said. Can you repeat what you just said? Like, I would really like to hear what
Yeah.
you just said.
Yeah, because I caught specific words and I kind of got the gist, but I want to make sure we did.
Found out that a female, like having, right, she can produce colostrum up to 2 weeks. You can take a breast pump
5
and get that colostrum, 2 weeks. That breast pump
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
and 2 weeks out of her tits and put it in a and free, and it's just as good as the next set of puppy. Like, just say for instance, you have a female that don't produce colostrum. You use that colostrum that you had from a female.
I love it. Okay. Okay. I was sitting there trying to think. I guess it's like, how many weeks did you say? Because that's a pretty good information to know. I was like,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah, Bruce, you're still breaking up real bad, but I caught what you were saying. So you're saying a female can produce colostrum up to 2 weeks. That's after the birth of the puppies and get a breast pump and just freeze that milk for later on. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. I just want to make sure everything was clear. Everything was clear.
Yeah.
Now for that time, like when you were having to feed the puppies before mom's milk came in. Now, what's your chosen method? Are you a bottle feeder or do you tube feed, or what's your method? What do you recommend, especially for these breeds being obviously
I prefer
what they are?
bottle.
Okay.
And by bottle, they have little syringes that you can get on like Amazon. You can put a nipple on top of it so you can measure exactly how much you're giving each puppy. I don't do like those AG bottles, like the actual little baby bottles,
Right.
like the bunny ones. I feel like they never get anything out of that nipple.
Yeah.
So I prefer the syringe ones. If the puppy is weak and it can't suckle on that nipple, then I go to tube feeding, but I always do tube feeding as my last resort, because God forbid I end up in a lung and then now I have pneumonia.
Right.
But yes, I can tube feed if need be. I've had puppies survive, but it's like my last resort, like emergency resort only.
Right. No, absolutely. Do you have any kind of issues with them aspirating or?
Some do, but my vet told me that if they're on the teat and they have milk spilling out of their nose, but they're still latched on firmly, leave them. They're not going to aspirate that because they have such a good suction hold to the teat that they don't get anything in the lung. It's coming straight out the nose. Just clean it off.
Right.
When you pull them off and they don't have that suction anymore, now you're risking aspiration because that suction is broken.
Nice.
So,
That is good information.
Clean that off
makes a
before
lot
you
of sense.
yeah, so just leave them on the teat, even if they're spewing it out of their nose. Just clean it off, you know, dab it with a little napkin or something.
Christina, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're laughing at Josh's comment.
That boy's so
No.
stupid.
He
He's
just
so
he just
stupid.
offered to tube feed me. I don't know what that entails, but I don't
I'm
know. I
sure
don't know.
Shoot.
you can use your imagination, Caleb. I know he did.
Oh,
Lord,
shoot.
but hey, but in all seriousness, hey, Adam just asked a really good question, and I would like to, yes, but in all seriousness, hey,
Sorry,
Adam
hold
just
on.
asked a really.
I pulled up the video on
Is
my
that how I
phone.
sound? Oh
Oh,
Lord
okay.
Jesus.
I was thinking like,
I was wondering what
delay,
was
much
going
delay.
on.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, but
I
Adam
was
said,
trying to see the comments, but I couldn't see them.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
sorry. What are your thoughts on plasma treatment for pups?
I keep plasma after I do progesterones per mom for her litter. I mean, I already have the blood, so I spin it down and I save that plasma in case I need it for emergency. And then I freeze it. Once in a while, if I have that 1 week puppy, then, you know, I can administer it to the puppy. It all depends. But I try not to have any weak puppies because that's just awful. I know.
Uh, Josh had another question about tube feeding. He's like, obviously, you know, it's a last resort for you. Do you have any tips on how to actually properly tube feed when you when you absolutely have to?
Yeah, get a small tube, depending on the breed of puppy that you have. Frenchies and English are pretty small when they're babies. I consider them like hamsters, so you don't need a super big tube. Then what I do is I take the tube length and I measure it from the middle of the belly of the puppy to the front of the mouth. And that's usually the length of where their stomach is. I take a marker and I mark it in black where how far I should go in. That way I have a marker and I don't stick the tube in further than it needs to go. Because then all it will do is I'll wrap around the stomach and then come back out, and then I'm risking putting milk where it doesn't need to be.
Right.
Once I marked it, then I go down the side of the mouth, either side, whatever side I feel comfortable with, and I slide it, allowing them to swallow it on their own. I don't force it, so make sure they're swallowing it themselves. Once they swallow it and, you know, I reach my marker out front, if I want to be sure that I'm not in the lungs, I pinch their little tail, and they'll let out a yelp. If they let out a yelp and I can hear it and it's vocal, I'm not in the lungs.
Oh.
If I don't hear it, then I'm in the lungs.
Lord, hey, let's
Yeah.
stop right there.
God.
But let's stop right there. Like, I've never ever heard that, and what
Me
sense
either.
that makes. Like, write that down. Like, that is amazing. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
everybody.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yes, like that was really really good information though, with the pinching of the tail, you know, with that, and to see exactly where that tube is. That makes perfect sense when you say it. So very very well done.
Dang. Yeah.
It saved me from depositing milk where it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
I say so.
Because
I
then
know
you're
that's
going to be
serious.
stuck aspirating all that out of the lungs and then possible pneumonia, and it's just
Right.
pinch it. Just pinch the tail.
That's crazy. That's a simple, and it makes sense. It makes so much sense when you say it.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yes. Hey, and everyone that's viewing in, man, share this. She's really, really providing some very good information. She's on top of it. The program that she's doing over there, Ace Bulldogs, over in Illinois. Follow her. You know, we're at the midway point of this live, but I just want to kind of stop there and just say, hey, man, follow her. She's really, really providing a lot of good information tonight. She breeds English Bulldogs, French Bulldogs, and the information she's providing tonight, you can tell that she's been in those situations. So get your pen and paper out for the rest of this half.
Oh, absolutely. We did have another question come in regarding the surgical. What numbers should you do a surgical for?
My vet likes to do 20.
20.
My vet likes to do 20. Anything above 20, she could still take. But his magic number is 20. The last surgical I did at 20, she had 8 puppies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Second biggest litter.
Yes.
Jeez. Wowza. That's crazy. I'm like trying to find it, like everyone is just like just talking about how useful this information has been. So they are praising you. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
You the
I'm learning
best.
all kinds of stuff tonight. So I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, like my mind's even blown. This is amazing.
Yeah. Hey,
Josh,
hey.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I just want to shout out Josh too. He said, thank you or you're welcome for the questions. And man, please, y'all don't realize how that makes it so fluid with it. So please ask the questions. We really do appreciate the questions. But back to your questions, Amanda. I'm sorry to cut off.
Well, it's actually Josh's question. It's a good one. He says, what do you think about incubators?
I like incubators in the event that I have a weak puppy. I have an incubator that I use. I do have oxygen attached to it. But if my litter is healthy, I don't stick them in the incubator. Yes, it's good because they get, higher concentration of oxygen. But, if you keep them in there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, they don't know what the actual air around you is going to be. So maybe they're going to take it in a negative way. So if they're healthy and they don't need the incubator, I don't put them in there. If I do have one that's struggling and really needs that TLC, I stick them in there. I give him the oxygen, and I take extra care of him. But don't fix it, or don't try to fix it if it's not broken.
Yeah.
That's what I like to say.
Gotcha.
Yeah, their immune system's it's so protected. It's like living in a bubble.
Yes,
it's like
it's like Bubble Boy.
Well, and it's the stimulation, it's the socialization with the siblings and with their mother. It's just there's a lot of things that they don't get as much as, so it kind of sets them behind, mentally, I feel, if you do too long or if it's unnecessary. So I totally I'm feeling what you're saying.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have it on hand just for emergencies.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Wow. People think that even me, myself, that putting them in the incubator, it just helps them all the time. But didn't know actually you can hurt them too. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like us, like our oxygen in our day life isn't 100% oxygen. So if we go from breathing in 100% oxygen for 8 weeks or 6 weeks or 5 weeks, and then they throw you out and it's like 50% oxygen, you're like, whoa.
Oh, it's a shock to the system.
Your lungs are like shocked. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
What is
You're working overdrive, just trying to
trying to breathe and stay alive.
Absolutely, you're working too hard. You don't happen to think that incubators have anything to do with the pneumonia, or worsening it if the pup develops pneumonia, or?
I don't think so. I think if a puppy has pneumonia and it's not caught on early enough to treat it and, help them bypass it, it just gets worse and worse and worse. I think pneumonia can come from mainly aspiration, and it's just catching the signs right away. Like if you have green boogies or any type of crusties on the nose. When I have a new litter, I always keep Clavamox handy, especially if it's like an overnight litter and my vet's not going to be open on Sunday. I just fill the Clavamox for me. I'll mix it in at home when I'm ready if I need it in case of emergency. If I don't, then I just stack it up in my medicine cabinet for the next litter. But Clavamox right away, as soon as you start seeing those crusties around the nose, will just wipe out whatever's trying to incubate in their body.
Jeez, man, yeah, that's, whew, dang. I'm trying to keep up. I'm learning way too many things all at once. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm digging it. I'm totally here for it.
Hey, I got a question real quick too, and then we're gonna get back to Josh's. Josh, I like your question, but I want to ask this question before we get too far off from it. All right, so you said that you freeze milk, colostrum from a female, and then also freeze plasma. As you're doing the AI, you already have the blood, you spin it down. What's the process of unfreezing that, and how long is that good for?
I guess I would have to ask my vet how long it's good for. I'm not sure on that
Yeah.
exactly. However, I mean, if you need it and it's, within that 2, 3 month
Okay.
time frame from when you spun it and took it from mom, I mean, that's a decent shelf life
Yeah.
just for the
That
moment,
makes sense.
for the 8 weeks that the puppies are little. Obviously, if you don't use it, just toss it out after.
Okay.
Um,
How much do you spend at one time? How
Uh-oh.
much do you spend? That's
She's
me?
muted. She might have a call coming in or something. She's muted up.
No.
When I say up there, I don't know where she's at on everyone's. uh,
You
Muted.
got mute.
Ruh-roh.
hey, Josh, I like that. And Josh, you're absolutely right. He's no rookie to breeding, but the English Bulldogs, he's very, very new to. So the questions are genuine, very, very good questions that a lot of good knowledge that he's absorbing and that all of us are absorbing for that. I know he's
Yeah.
doing his first breeding coming up. So, hey, Christina, yeah, you're still muted.
You're muted.
Hit your mute button.
Hit the microphone button.
Oh,
Uh,
she
I'll get it back.
went
I'll
away.
get her.
she
I'll get
hit
her
the
back
red
on.
button. No, not the.
I,
We'll get her back in here
I
in just
have
a second.
done that. I have done that.
Oh, I start
Absolutely.
every live on mute. Every single live
Yes,
on
that's
mute for the first
fair.
5
You
minutes.
do. Yes.
Yeah, Caleb love it. I'm gonna start calling you mute.
Mm. Yeah. No kidding. Right.
But once I get off mute, baby, I'm on, baby.
Yeah. Sure are.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sorry about
yeah, there she
that. I
Oh
go.
no.
couldn't
No,
hear
you're
you guys.
good. You're good.
Hey,
We
look.
just figured it
I
to kick you off.
couldn't hear you.
Hey, my question was, how much do you spend down? I mean, how many cc's of blood do you spend down? Because you only get so much serum, from blood. You know what I mean?
It depends. When I draw blood for a progesterone, I like to get at least half of a syringe. That's about like three mLs or 4 mLs. And the reason why I do that is because if I ruin one sample spitting it down and my plasma doesn't separate correctly, I don't want to have to draw more blood and poke her again. So I have enough blood to do more than one sample in case I ruin one or two or three. And then with that extra blood, I can always spin it down. So it depends on what type of machine I have to spin it down. The one that I use, it's like 3 mLs.
yeah.
So I can only split 3 mLs and separate 3 mLs. But they do sell machines that spin like bigger vials, like the ones that you go when you get the blood drawn out on you, like that size. So then your plasma is more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got both. I got both. I got a small and a big one. I do spend blood too. And I was just wondering how much do you spend down at one time? So
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna start saving plasma too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
Right.
mean, and if you already have the female, and you're drawing blood, just take out a little bit extra. She'll replenish it, and that way you don't have to poke her more than
Yeah.
once.
Yes. Hey, but hey, also, all right. So let's get to that too, real quick. The unfreezing process and and giving that to the puppies. How does that process actually take place with the plasma?
I was told to do room temperature,
Okay.
so it just leave it on the counter until it reaches room temperature. Um, if you want to heat it up a little bit faster, it's going to sound gross, but I tuck it under my armpit and it goes down
Yeah.
to my core temperature. I mean, that's core temperature for you. Um, I always tell my clients like this is going to be gross. I got to heat it up. No judgment, but
They're like, "What are you gonna do?"
yeah,
Whoop.
they're
You're like,
like,
nobody look at me.
I know. They're like, do your thing, girl. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, depending on the way you want to inject it into the puppy, it usually goes on the back of the neck. That's where I like to do it. That's where my vet told me to do it. The same thing with like lactated ringers and stuff like that. That's where it goes, back of the neck.
And so for those who are really, really curious, like what's the purpose of the plasma? Like what all does it, what benefit does it give because you're giving it to weak puppies, correct?
Right.
Right.
From my understanding, from what my vet explained, it kind of gives them a boost. They're lacking, vitamins and minerals and um, uh, antibodies from mom and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that the plasma is giving them everything that mom had and has built up on, and they're getting a full dose of it.
Gotcha. And it's just what you spun off, correct? It's not any
Yes.
any other additive. It's literally just what you spun off and froze and then brought back to core temp.
Yes. Yeah, there's like no additives or anything. It's just the plasma.
I love
Well,
it.
look,
And I
I
actually
wonder.
have plasma in my fridge from like a year ago, and it's still there.
Dang.
Hey,
I
look,
just
I was
thought
wondering.
about it. I'm like, I
I
think
was
I have plasma
wondering.
up there.
You think you could keep it in a syringe except for putting it in a bag, just keep it in a syringe and
Um,
freeze it?
well, I'm sure you could, but I have kids, so I don't want to keep syringes anywhere where my kids can get them.
Ah,
Um,
So you got to have a
they're
doggy
nosy.
freezer.
Yeah. Well, even in the doggy freezer, they always make their way into places they're not supposed to be. So I would say you could if it's like all adults, but if you have children or, nieces and nephews that frequent your home, I wouldn't keep it in a syringe. You don't want them to get poked.
understood.
Okay.
Josh locked
Hey,
this meth up.
that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Oh my gosh. Hey, real quick. Someone just said that plasma can be used as eye drops too.
Yes. Yes. Usually they'll spin plasma and do a drop in, and they'll make a drop mixture. I know my vet mixes another additive with the plasma to make it like into an eye drop. I had one of my English scratch their cornea on our outside brick wall. He's just wanted to scratch his eye along the whole side of the wall. So he had an abrasion in his eye, and he had to take a Q-tip, rub that layer off, and then he added a mixture of plasma drop into the eye, and it healed it.
Wow.
Hey, go.
Wow.
I've
Hmm.
just never heard. Dang, I've never even heard of that being like an option. That's nuts. I'm here for it.
Yes. Hey, Glenn Menifee, thank you for that. And then Christina, thank you for hammering that home too. Like with that knowledge. I've never heard of that.
Maybe that's wild.
Yes.
Let's see.
Hey, and I got a question. You keep referring to your vet, talking about, your vet and the importance of the relationship with your vet is, me and Amanda were talking about this the other day because, we had a recent incident and our vet really, really came through for us. How often do you communicate with your vet, and then just how much knowledge and how important do you think that is with the vet?
I think it's very, very important to have a very good and open relationship with your veterinarian. Um, at the end of the day, he's the professional. I've been lucky that my vet lets me pick his brain, like we're two peas in a pod, and he's like, "Hey, I just went to this uh, where did he go? A seminar. He's like, I want to try this out. I was like, I'm all for it. Let me know. Like, let's do it. And if I read of something, that another breeder suggests, I'm like, hey, can we try this? I just read about this. What do you think about this? He's like, yeah, let's give it a whirl, and it's like he's ready to run with my crazy ideas, and I'm ready to run with his crazy ideas, and together, like, we're out there just doing it and still producing. I call ourselves mad scientists. He has the degree, so he's Dr. Jekyll and I'm Hyde. So
Oh, but you're an awfully pretty Hyde.
but yes, he does so much for me. I had a prolapse not that long ago on a Sunday, and I texted him and I said, I hate to bother you on a Sunday, but and I sent him the picture, and he's like, gosh dang it. He's like, meet me at the office, I'll be there in an hour. And he goes above and beyond. So I really do appreciate him more than he knows. And I tell him all the time, like, he's like, come here. You know, he tries to save me trips because I'm 2 hours away from him. But I'm like, I don't mind driving to see you. I don't care if I have to drive 4 hours round trip to see you because I know you always help me with what I need. So
Yeah.
even if you have to schedule me a week apart, I'll come back. I don't care.
Jeez Louise. Now, what kind of prolapse was it?
Anal prolapse for an English puppy. It was my first. It was graphic. It was
Oh, I'm
scary.
I've only
I
ever seen
thought the
one.
dog was gonna die, and
Yeah.
he was only like 10 weeks old, and I was like, oh my God, what the heck just happened? I picked him up like this, you
I
know,
know
like
you're
kind
like,
of
oh, that's so
like, how are
weird.
you not dying? And
Half of me was out.
he wasn't in pain. He wasn't in pain. He wasn't crying. He wasn't anything. He still wanted to eat. He wanted to play. And I was like, we're not playing. Like, don't come near me. Like, please stop. Stay still. Um, he
Lord.
told me that my vet said that they're not in pain. It doesn't hurt them. He said it doesn't hurt them. Like
No, we
nothing.
hurts our feelings.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
like, just bring him in. He stitched it to his body so it wouldn't come out again, and it hasn't been out ever since.
So they were at a point where all they needed was the stitch.
Yeah,
Good.
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
A lot of the vets in our area here in the Chicagoland area, I swear that whenever like any type of prolapse happens, they're quick to say, you know, 3,500, 5,800, you know, 7,500 emergency, or your dog needs to be put down because they're not going to recover from this. And I know there's a lot of vets that have done that to fellow breeders that I know in my area. And, you know, it's disgusting that they would put their dog down because the vet is telling them like it's so much money to fix this little thing, and they're being lied to. And I
Right.
feel like the breeders are taken advantage of, and it's sad.
Yeah. That
Oh,
is.
no, absolutely. I definitely agree that like if it's a vet that you're not 100%, on the level with, ask all the questions. Ask all the questions. Kind of, don't like without being completely combative. Like ask all the questions. Find out if there are other options, and really kind of press for that. Because honestly, just like you said, it's. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. Will just like, well, I'm going to pick the more expensive procedure and say that that's kind of the only route that we need to go, and that's deceptive. It's extortion.
It really is. And I feel like a lot of the vets in our area are very good at extorting the people that don't know they have other options. And it's sad to say that because they see an English or a French, they automatically think that you have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for these $400 procedures. And
Right.
it's really sad that they want to extort the public in that manner. And shame on them.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
100%, 100%. Have you ever had to deal with a prolapse of either like a vaginal prolapse or uterine?
Yes. The uterine one, same thing. He trimmed, I believe he trimmed the penis area and then somehow tucked it back in. He's amazing. When I say that, I don't
Yeah.
say it sparingly. Like this man he's magic.
Jeez
Hey,
Louise.
a female that prolapses, is that still a breedable female, or what does your vet say on that if it's a prolapse of such?
I haven't had one yet, so I haven't crossed that road with him to be able to pick his brain.
Yeah.
So I cannot comment on that because I don't have experience with it. I do have experience with Pio. I recently had a female that I bred earlier a couple weeks ago, and she ended up with Pio. A local vet around me wanted 3,500 and then said that I needed to spay her because it was her life or Pio. So I texted him and I said, hey, it's Sunday. I'd hate to do this to you again. But I have
Always happens on a
Pio.
Sunday.
But I have Pio, and he's like, bring her in, drop her off tomorrow. I'll clean her out. We'll send her home with antibiotics. She should be good. He gave her antibiotics and said, they're safe for pregnancy in the event that she's still pregnant. So she looks pregnant still. The discharge is gone. She's on her last week of antibiotics. So we'll see if we can confirm or not confirm.
Wow. Keep us updated on that. That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
Josh is having fun in the comments.
Josh asked a question a while back.
Mhm.
He was saying that so during C-section, I am asking for blood then for the plasma. So he thinking he could only get plasma during the C-section.
no,
That's what he's asked.
no, you usually, if you're going to save plasma, it's when you're doing progesterone testing. So
Mhm.
when you're pulling that blood to see where your female's at with her numbers, that's when you save the plasma.
Mhm.
Usually if I'm doing a progesterone and my client says, hey, can you save me the plasma? I'll just separate it for them, and
Oh,
then they'll put it into their freezer or whatever.
he
Yeah.
said that wasn't his question, but it said, so during C-section, I am asking for blood, then for plasma. That's what he got up there.
It's
That's what he
literally what
got.
you
Bruce
just
is
asked
saying
for.
that's not the question, but that's the question.
Um,
Uh,
I'm not sure that they draw blood out during a C-section. I know that they do go under and they're sedated, but I don't think my vet draws blood, so I'm not sure if I can answer that question either.
Bruce, I love you, man.
he did.
Josh
He did
confuses
have
me,
a.
man.
He
Josh
did have a
confuses
question
me.
earlier, Bruce, that I was going to ask, but then we started moving on to, like, obviously, different conditions that you've had to deal with on an emergency basis. But this kind of falling into that category. So you have a puppy that starts aspirating. Like, how do you address that? What do you do, like, from start to finish? How do you address that?
If it's actually aspirating and I can hear it in the lungs,
Hmm.
usually you'll
Mhm.
hear like a
Mhm.
gurgling sound, like very raspy. I have two different types of aspirators. One of them, it's kind of like that little blue heavy duty machine. I don't know if you guys have seen it around. I can send a picture in
Yeah.
like the chat later.
Oh yeah.
And the other is like a baby aspirator.
Mhm.
The battery operated one.
Oh, no, one of those.
I do.
Oh,
Yeah, so and it has different settings for suction. You want to do it in the lowest setting, because if you pull that lung too hard and it's tender, you're risking making it bleed. And then if you bleed, then the baby's going to die. So you never want to aspirate at the highest setting. You want to make sure that you're aspirating as low as it can be and just able to clean out what you can, um, without harming the lungs.
Yes.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, it's a super gentle.
Mm.
Gotcha. Baby clothes.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, so Christina, you also, said that you're a fun show judge, and then
Mm.
you also just experienced the first Bully Awards.
Yes.
You were an attendee of that. Tell us about that experience. I'd like to know before we close.
It was very nice. I accompanied my very good friend Christina White. She owns Walter White, out here in Illinois, and she made top 5 for the nominees. So she invited me to be her plus one, and I went. It was a total experience. We flew in. We had brunch. We got ready. We dressed up in black gowns and took an Uber to this venue, and it was, every year for like corporate events, our boss throws like a big gala, right? So it kind of gave me that same vibe of corporate jobs, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but for breeders, because
Yeah.
usually I don't think I dress up as much as I do with corporate work than breeding. Usually it's a t-shirt, hair up in a bun, covered in dog poop. So for us to actually dress up, do our makeup, make our hair look pretty, and see all of our other fellow colleagues and breeders, and judges and everything, it was very nice. It was definitely a nice experience. I really enjoyed it. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope that's an annual event that takes place, because what an incredible event that took place. And like you said, it makes you feel a really different sense of it, because every day we're wearing sweatpants, we're wearing shirts we don't care if we get slobber on or doing an AI or
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
case is. So to really get
Yep.
recognized for that work, I know there was a lot of negativity around it, which everything that's new. But I love it. I really do. I think it's a great event. I think it's for a good cause. And I would love to see it an annual event. I think people should get recognized for their work,
Yep.
whatever recognition that is.
Yep.
Even at shows, things like that, really get recognized for their work. So, yeah,
Yes,
thank you for
I
sharing
agree.
your experience.
Josh is having way too much fun in his comments, man. He's having way too much fun. So wait, that wasn't where was that? Was that in Atlanta?
Georgia, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I just couldn't remember. I could have sworn it was in Atlanta. I was just seeing a lot of pictures and everything, and everyone was looking pretty slick, and I was like, ah.
It was
So
nice. I like when I say it was nice to dress up, it was very nice. I think it's what the bully community was missing. It's the one night to just dress up and no dogs, like just you and all your colleagues having a good time, enjoying your own company with everybody else, and sharing like-minded experiences and meeting new people that I wouldn't have met otherwise, people from California and, people that are really big, female breeders. I would have never met them. And here I am in Atlanta having the opportunity to network
right.
and meet them. And, now I know them. And now I actually, say, hey, I met you. It's nice.
Yes. And Christina,
Put a
it's
face
awesome.
to it.
I love that you're so willing to go out there and rub elbows with the next person and meet the next person and fly out, because where I met you, you live up in Illinois. We met in Troy, Alabama.
Yes, yes. I've done 17 states between last year and this year.
Please.
I want to do all 50. I want to do all 50.
Wow.
I do fly, I do drive, but I chase the best hardware. And so if you're inviting me, like if I see your show, like I'm asking to see your hardware, because if I'm driving 900 miles, I want to possibly come home with something nice that I can throw on my bookshelf and say, I went to Alabama or I went to Kentucky,
All right. I want to have a hard time Tetrising that thing into my car. I should have to pay Tetris to get that in my car if I'm traveling that far.
When we went to North Carolina in June, I went just, to go support Rachel Brown, because she had the battlefield in memory of her son who was lost to suicide.
Wow.
My husband died from suicide, so I wanted to show my support. So we went, and never in a million years did I think we would win. We ended up winning Best in Show, and it just made that personal experience even 100 times more highlighted. It just gave me the chills, and I didn't expect it, but it was amazing to share that with her and to play Tetris with a trophy, because I flew, so there was no way I was going to bring that home.
You got a bag of truth.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Luckily, I had my friend Diane from Minnesota, and she drove, and she was driving through Chicago, and I'm like, Diane, will you bring this home to me, please? I'll meet you wherever you want to meet me.
Yeah.
She's like, yes, I'll bring it to you. And she did. She brought all my winnings home, and I wouldn't have met her if I didn't go to her show in Minnesota last year. So yes, rubbing elbows and meeting people everywhere. I've met so many wonderful people, and every time I go to a new state, that new state just welcomes us in with such love and just actual support. They're not fake, they support you, they love you, they welcome you. Hey, when are you coming back? We're coming up to Chicago, and I'm like, hey, come, I'd love to host you. I'm always in your state.
Yeah.
Well, Robert Motley's in here telling you need to come to his show in North Carolina August 31st.
Yes.
Send me the flyer.
And the hardware. And the hardware.
Yes, and the hardware, please.
She wants pictures of the hardware. She wants pictures of the hardware. Very, very important.
Hey.
Very important.
Robert is no slouch with the hardware.
Ooh,
the dog father up there in North Carolina, he is bringing the hardware. Last year, they had to bring a U-Haul. It was 6-foot trophy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you might be in the same situation you were in the Carolinas before. And what an amazing story.
Don't fly, drive to this one. Just in case. Just in case. Yeah.
Yes, that was so cool. I didn't even know that's what that show was for. Like that's such a good cause, and just man, in the dog world, in the dog community, and the shows, it's so much deeper than what people really know until they actually get out there and experience it.
Yeah.
You meet people that are dealing with life issues that you're able to talk to and you're able to relate to, and you don't know what the impact that you're having on them. So, Christina, keep doing your thing. I absolutely admire your program, what you're doing, what you stand for, and what your whole program is based on. So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like, if anyone else got any questions, I'm not in any rush to get off. I just wanted to really make sure I reiterate that before we get off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely for sure.
I'm not in a rush either, so I feel free to pick my brain any longer.
Yes.
No, absolutely.
Does any,
You've already blown my brain. I'm like, that's amazing. Like I had no idea that plasma could do all that. I didn't even, are you okay?
Hey, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the plasma real quick because I forget what the gentleman's name is. I'm gonna find it because I called him out a while ago for some great information. But he said that the plasma under the tongue helps for stomach for ulcers.
Um, are you talking about Glenn?
Yes,
I think I
yes,
did.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you.
I'm not sure if he meant that, but it could be. I just know that what I've used it for has been eyes and then in the back of the neck area. But his wife, Mindy, she's a veterinarian or she's a vet tech and she works in a vet's office. So she's very well versed in those areas as well. So if that's what he said, I believe him.
Well, awesome. I love that, and I love that he's viewing in. And thank you for dropping that, the gems that you're dropping. From the message box. So thank you.
I do have some medicines that I keep on hand when when I have new puppies or just, that maybe some people are interested on having themselves too. Um, for like newborn puppies, I like to keep neomycin for like eye infections. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced the eye swelling as a newborn puppy to where it blows up kind of like full of pus. I've had a few. It's kind of scary. It's ugly, actually. But if you don't let that pus drain out, the puppy could lose the eye.
Wow.
So usually my vet does a very small incision and then he drains the pus out, and then the neomycin keeps the bacteria away and clean.
Wow.
So that's neomycin. I like to keep clavamox for that pneumonia or anything that could get the puppy to be sick within the first 1 to 2 weeks. A hydroxine, he prescribes that if my females don't have milk supply right away when he's doing the C-section. He sends me home with some hydroxine. Doxycycline, that's good for kennel cough, green nasal discharge, pneumonia. If you go to a dog show and you come home with kennel cough, chances are your entire house is going to get kennel cough. So I keep Doxy on hand all the time. Amoxicillin for bacterial infections. Sulfaxin, I use sulfaxin for hot spots. I've noticed that my English get hot spots when we fly, like they get really stressed out, and he'll get hot spots here or in the top of his head or in the back of his neck. And if you let a hot spot run its course, it's going to be about 2 weeks. You're going to lose all the hair. They're going to be bald in that area. If I give him sulfaxin the moment I see the hot spot coming on, they don't lose their hair and it's gone within 4 days. So I really do like sulfaxin, especially if I have to go to a show the next weekend.
Yeah.
Right. It's like this yesterday.
I can't risk being bald in that area. Yeah.
Yes.
For
Hey,
sure.
how does that work with flying? With flying, do they let them fly with you, or is that, underneath the plane?
No, they fly in cabin with me. I usually, they're registered as service animals, so one person can fly with up to 2 animals.
Nice.
They just have to be trained manners. They have to hold their bowel movements. Obviously, if they pee and poop on the plane, you're going to get charged a fine. And if they're aggressive or barking, they really do have to have the best manners a dog can have. So we've been blessed to fly in cabin with them, and they do well. American really likes, they're dog friendly. There's some airlines that are a little bit more finicky. So I prefer American if I had to choose. Southwest is cool, but with the, open seating, if you don't pay the extra to board early before everyone else, you get the rows are very narrow and you can't fit a 50-pound dog in front of that leg room. So you really want to get the rows that have the extra leg room for the dog to sit in.
Yeah.
So pay that extra $40.
Yeah. Love it. I love all the information being passed.
So I do AIs, TCIs, progesterone, semen analysis. If anybody ever needs any and I'm on the road, let me know.
Yes. So when you're on the road, so you actually travel with all your
With my equipment,
yeah.
I've done breedings out of state. Like I've gone to a dog show and people are like, hey, I want to use your dog, and I'm like, sure, meet me at the dog show. I'll bring my machine, if she's ready, we'll AI her.
Love it.
I'll run the semen analysis so you can see that his count is good.
Right.
And then I'll AI her for you. So yeah.
Dang. She don't
Only
play.
if I know
Full service
I'm breeding. If I'm breeding, if not, then I don't have to carry all that junk around because it's just taking up space.
Yeah, you don't carry it just to carry it. You
I know.
Right.
I wish.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Rose asking, do you have any tips on TCI? Like, what's the best equipment that you recommend?
I'm still learning TCI. I don't offer it to the public until I've confirmed at least 10 litters in my own house by myself before I can offer that service to somebody else. I'm still practicing, so I do know that, when you go in and the camera's on and you pass the catheter, after you do the insemination and you deposit it up in the two horns, my vet likes to give the female antibiotics in the event that something was caught on the way in.
Yeah.
You never know. It's metal, it's plastic, it's in there. So he does like to give them about a week's worth of antibiotics to make sure that nothing brews up in there. That's my only tip. I'll have to get back to you on that once I can confirm my 10th pregnancy.
Awesome.
Yep. Hey, Raul said, Big Bruce. I know. Hey, Raul, Bruce is always running late. I don't know what to say about him.
Like, this is grotesquely late, Bruce, if I must say.
Oh, man.
He done got kicked off. We're over here worried about Caleb's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, he wants to get on to me all the time, so here it is.
Yeah, they kicked me off, Raul.
He was being naughty again. I can't tolerate it every time. Can't tolerate it.
But
Dang,
yes,
so the as far as so how many dogs do you have total?
I have 5, 3 English, 2 Frenchies. I had 3 Frenchies, but my car broke down, and that's like my means to get everywhere. So I don't like having debt. So I charged it to my credit card, and it was eating me alive. So I had to rehome my 3rd Frenchie, and it was so hard to let it go because that would have been my foundation baby.
yeah.
Oh, my heart. Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry.
I know it's tough.
No.
So I have 5, 3 and 2.
I got a question for you. I was trying to get on. You were saying something that you check the sperm. You show your breeders, your sperm count. But do you have the eye sperm? You have the eye sperm? You do?
Here we go.
Okay.
I love that thing. I do a lot of shipping for clients and AIs for people that ship semen in. So it's always nice to be able to show the client like, hey, this is what they shipped you. In the event that your female doesn't take, it's not because I did the AI wrong. It's because the semen count is super low. Like you need to report this back to your client and let them know that the quality wasn't good. Because, everybody likes to get mad at the person doing the AI, but if you're not checking the semen count, like,
yes, absolutely,
it's not always the person's fault.
What's the machine called again for the semen analysis?
It's
eye sperm.
Yeah, ice sperm.
Ice sperm? Ice sperm? Okay.
Mhm.
Hey, that's a great topic. That's a great point, though, because you're right. Everyone's always blaming the vets, blaming the person that
Yeah.
does AI. Like,
Or
your semen
blaming
count was
the
this.
female.
Yes.
hmm
But normally, though, I wouldn't recommend nobody getting seamanship and doing an AI. If you're gonna get seamanship, you might as well
Surgical,
do a surgical.
always.
And the vet gonna check it and tell you if it's good or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the safest way. That's the safest way to do it. Because the reason I said that is because I had a friend that got semen shipped to him and he did his own AI and the dog didn't take. And the guy didn't want to repeat the breeding because he did his own AI.
Yeah.
But if you got a vet backing you up saying, hey, this dog didn't take, you can get the breeding repeated. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be very close, like Josh Stanley. I know Josh, if I get sperm with him, if I say it didn't take, hey, Josh, send me some more semen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to know who you're dealing with.
And those are the good breeders, the ones
Yeah,
that want to see you succeed, not the
right.
ones that tell you, oh, kick rocks. Like
Yeah,
I just paid $5,000 for that, and you're going to tell me to kick
yeah,
rocks? Thanks, buddy.
yeah.
Well, I had a client recently who I did an AI with ship semen, and the microscope that they used didn't have what the iSperm provides, which is motility, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the microscope that they were running it under showed perfect motility, like swimmers,
Yeah.
everything. And they were shipping that day, and we were getting the next day. And then when I was running it under the iSperm, it was 8%, like nothing. So yes, you can use microscopes, but honestly, seeing that a day apart, like there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way that I would trust just the microscope. I like the detailed numbers that the iSperm gives you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives you more detail than just seeing it with your eyes, through a
Yeah.
microscope. I get it. Absolutely. Jeez, I didn't even think about that. Um,
And
uh,
and the vet, I mean the stud owner sent him videos, hey, just collected him, here's the video. And I mean, we could see it, they're moving, but when it arrived, it was not moving anymore.
yeah,
Mm.
that's unfortunate. Um, so Furman from Broom Bullies, he just hopped on and was asking, so you answered this earlier, but I figure we'll get some specifics again. Do you do any kind of health testing on your bulldogs? Like obviously, we kind of curious, like what kind of tests, like specific tests that you have done and why.
So I do 5-panel testing on my bulldogs, and I think Frenchies have 7 panels. So I use animal genetics for that to clear them of, the hereditary traits that they could carry or the health markers. And then I also submit to OFA testing. So I OFA test and I DNA test all my dogs. And yes, I won't breed to a dog that is not health tested or not cleared, at least health wise. I've spent a lot of money and poured into my program to not do my due diligence.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely.
Hey, so
As far as go ahead.
out of the 5 dogs that you have right now, how many are titled and what are they titled in?
One is titled. We're 5 points short with ICBR for champion for William. Williams champion with BRC. And G is showing in both, but we never have any comp.
Yeah.
So I wish there was more bulldog breeders out there that brought out their dogs and showed up in the ring, so we could
Yeah.
have some points at least. It's kind of hard. You go to all these shows, but none of the points ever count because there's no competition. So it's taken me a little bit longer to champ her out because there's not many females that show. With William, I think I did it in one weekend in Indiana. So it was definitely.
William. Like, is there a really, like, is there a different like register name that you have on his paperwork?
It's just Ace Bulldogs William.
Okay. What was the motivation behind the name, William?
I needed something catchy, and so it was like William, and then I have Charles, and then I
Oh,
have
that's what you tell you. It's like
it,
Charles.
it's like an old man name,
Yeah,
like William,
Clarence.
come here. Like they're like, who's William? So
Oh
I
my
just
God,
needed that like old man name that people
oh,
that when I'm yelling in the yard, like who's
that is
William? Yelling
phenomenal.
at
Yeah,
William.
all of my dogs have middle names, so that way when it's time to behave, like the middle name gets whipped out
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Oh,
I was
absolutely.
going for that extraness.
Oh, yeah, they need to know when I mean business. They don't care. It's taking it.
Definitely.
Oh, I have no idea what I was talking about. He was asking though. So you've given us the fact that you get your genetic testing done through animal genetics. Um, but how do you feel at Embark? Like, is there a particular reason why you
Um,
prefer?
I saw that Embark was adding like extra markers in there for clients. I have a friend in Georgia who uses Embark, and she was just noting that they were adding, these extra markers, kind of like scaring off her potential clients because it pops up on the report, even though it has nothing to do with the breed. So I like to keep it simple. It goes with the markers and it shows you, positive, negative, carries one copy, carries two copies. So I feel like the less information I can give them, the better, because then they're like, oh my God, my dog is positive for this. And I'm like, well, it doesn't apply to the breed, but Embark wanted to put it in there.
Yes. I like that.
Because, as soon as people read that, they freak out. Oh, my dog's gonna die. You sold me a sick dog.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't apply to your dog.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, that's the one thing that, and they've added more as they find them.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
insane.
just like that doesn't even apply to my breed. Why is this even on here? So you panic people for no reason. I've noticed that with Embark.
I don't know what Embark charges, but I just did a full panel test, DNA and color with animal genetics for $146. They had a coupon. So it was 50% off regular value. So I health tested the rest of my dogs that needed to be health tested, and just did it all at once. So the coupons help out for people that don't want to spend $300 a dog. So do it while they're on sale.
Oh, absolutely. Because when I was because I put the link to it in the comments, and like one of the first things that popped up as I was typing in animal genetics is the animal genetics coupon. I was like, oh, oh, they have those. Okay, good. So yeah, if you decide to Google it, you'll see a coupon option as well in the search results. So that could be useful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I health tested 4 dogs and it was like original like $3,000 and I was paying like 1,500.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, nobody
That's
wants
way better. That is for sure.
yeah.
Mm, 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 mm.
But
And does it does show things like, color and, other physical traits. So it gives all that.
yes. It actually even shows like for the Frenchies, I've noticed that they do like a shedding, not shedding
Wow.
marker. And my Frenchies are not shedding type. So I thought that was pretty cool. If only the English could be non-shedding type. But the Frenchies were non-shedding type. So that was pretty neat.
Oh yeah. No, I always like I complain about my dog shedding what little they do. And then like I see friends that have like English or Old English dogs and you pet them and you're like, holy cow. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop bitching now.
Yep. One of the tips that I do want to give people that are just starting to breed is your whelping area. Make sure it's not a flat surface. I can't tell you how many times I see people who are, breeding or whelping their first litter and the puppies are laying on a flat surface, and that causes flat chest. And you know, our breeds, our Frenchies and our English are already predisposed to the brachycephalic syndrome. So now you're flattening their chest, making those lungs more compressed against their chest. So I like to pile up blankets and ball them up and create texture to where they're like going over mounds as puppies trying to get to the teats. So definitely avoid flat-chested puppies because that's awful to fix as they grow older.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Dang, I didn't even consider that. I mean, I've always like with the exception of right now, my XL, I can't put anything in his crate without him trying to devour it. So he gets nothing in his crate. Little man, I had to my pocket. I had to get him one of those canine beds, the one that's like metal with tarp. But so it's like a
Oh, the cots.
Yeah, it's a cot. So like I have that for him. But yeah, as far as crate time's concerned, they're only ever in there when we're not home. So they're not in there all the time. So it's but other than that, they're everywhere on everything. So I don't think they have that problem.
The whelping area, that's just for them as puppies, like between newborn and like 4 weeks of age. Because they're literally just laying there flat all the time, and once in a while they'll do the little swimming motion where they move around the pool. But if they're always flat on their chest, that their chests really are flat, and when you see them as adults, you'll probably start staring at dogs now. Their chest should be concave like this.
Yeah.
If you see a dog and their chest is flat, you know that they didn't have the support they should have as a puppy. So as a judge, when you go to examine the dog, you're feeling the dog from head to toe. And when you go down the chest, if it's not concave, it's not a disqualification, but you know that the dog
Yeah, it's a problem
is
for
flat
sure.
chest.
Dang.
So
Yeah, no, some people were talking about
texture in the whelping area. I always like just create little mounds, and people like to use the egg crate or egg whatever. I don't think it works. Just my personal preference. I like to just ball up blankets and then throw a big blanket over it and then fluff it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Love it.
Dang. Oh yeah. Definitely some great advice. I'm still like I'm going through comments for questions and everything, and like what's neat is like some of these questions I mean we've already had them answered because you just kind of transitioned straight into it without even needing us to ask. That's just very natural of you. I think you're just a mind reader. Dang, yeah, okay. Well, anybody have any questions, anything like that? I know it's
Yeah, Christina, you got any closing remarks? Like, this has been exceptional. Great live. A lot of people in the comments, a lot of great info coming to them, and they appreciate it. So, Christina, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any closing remarks for us?
I'm here for anybody. If anybody ever wants to pick my brain, my inbox is always open. My phone number is public. I am a real estate agent, so it has to be public. But I mean, feel free to text me. I usually answer anybody that calls. I get a lot of people that are, hey, what color is my puppy? And, I'll respond and I'll let them know what I think it is. But I also redirect, like, hey, if you want actual concrete evidence, this is where you can test your dog. But based on my visual observation, it's a Merle or it's a blue and tan and stuff like that. I don't always have the answer, but I can always redirect you to someone who does. And I'm always here to help anybody learn. I have a lot of clients that want to learn how to do their own AI, so I teach them. Clients that want to know how to draw their own blood for PGs, I teach them. So I'll teach anyone that's willing to learn.
Yes.
We did get a question. This is from a fellow judge. Corey Latham. With Southern Hearts Bullies. He says, as a judge, what is the first thing you tend to evaluate when you begin your evaluation?
Well, I like to watch the dog walking into the ring. I feel like those first couple of seconds say a lot about the dog. Is the dog comfortable walking into the ring? You know, does it have confidence in itself? It should be trotting. It should be with his head lifted up high. It should have great posture, great movement, great angulation. If there's a lot of dogs that walk into a ring and their head is down and the lead is being choked on them and they're being dragged in there and it's not the dog's fault. It just needs
Right.
more exposure, more work. But I guess the first thing that I look for is that confidence. Does the dog have confidence in itself? Does the dog have confidence in its handler? Do they have a good relationship? The dog should respond to the handler like in unison, like they should glide through the ring.
Yeah.
They should prance together, and you do see that with a lot of dog handlers and their dogs. Like they really do go out there and put on a performance, and they look so good. They just glide through the show ring, and then there's the ones that struggle, but they just need a little bit more work.
I
I love how
love
you
it.
brought that up.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where like just when no one like when you think the judges aren't looking,
Oh,
like
they're looking.
they're always looking.
They're
Like,
always looking. Yeah,
mhm.
they're always looking.
Yeah,
Oh,
hey, little.
Corey said he's like 50% of my evaluation is based off ring entrance. I'm like, oh,
And
no
it's
pressure
interesting,
there. No pressure,
like
right? Jeez, thanks, Corey. Yeah.
those 10 seconds when they're like number 54, number 55, and you think the judge isn't paying attention. They're watching you walk from wherever they're watching you walk in, they're watching you stack your dog, they're
Yep.
watching your body language, they're watching the dog's body language. And it's all about the dog. But if the dog's uncomfortable, like you can see it. Like, there's no hiding that you can't get past it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've had there was one show I had a UKC judge, a gentleman. He told me we got all the way to best of breed, and now the dog that I lost to, the other bully I lost to, was a grand champion, so I ain't even mad. But at the same time, it's like his advice was he's just like, he just doesn't seem like he's just not excited to be here. I'm like, I was like, first of all, just rude. Oh, yes, I know. He was just like, he was so done. He was over me an hour before that. So at that point, he's just like, Mom, it's show floor. I don't want to be here. So I get it. I really do. But it was just one of those, I'd never heard a judge tell me that before, but that's what he based it on, was the fact that he, like, from entry to, the final round. Yeah.
Like it's tough when you go head to head for like, start to finish to the last of the best of the best, for the best in show. Like the judges have it really tough because these are the best of the best from every breed. And then it goes down to literally nitpicking the dog. Who has best eye placement, ear placement, rear angulation, best top line, like best, pasterns and stuff like that. Like they have to disqualify every dog in order to find, the best for the best in show, because they're all best, they're all good, they're all perfect, they all made it, but only one can take it home, and it's hard. It's really hard. And there's a lot of people that get a lot like mad, like, oh, you didn't pick my dog. Maybe your dog sat down the moment I looked and it was perfect, but now I got to give it to the person that kept working the entire time, didn't flinch, didn't give in, nothing, just perfection. So it's tough, but it is what it is.
Oh yeah.
But that's what we have. We bring our dogs in the ring to be judged.
Mm-hmm.
We pay people to judge our dogs.
Yeah.
And you did. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to do that.
I just like making it to like the best in show lineup. Like I never expect to win anything. I just go, I give it my all. If we make it, we make it. But I know I'm going up against the best of the best. Like this is not just my regular comp. Like I made it to what is the best of the best of every breed. So
Absolutely.
I think that should be an accomplishment in itself for people, and they shouldn't feel discouraged. Like you made it out of 10, 15 breeds, you made it to, the best of your breed. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Definitely, definitely. Does anybody else have any awesome questions?
Hey, quick shout out
I
real
love how we
quick.
got a great question like right at the end. It's like, thanks, Corey.
Yes. Hey, Candy Avila. Hey, Battle of Troy this weekend.
Yes.
July, what's that, 19th and 20th? Should kill me if I didn't say anything.
Yes.
So, yes, Battle of Troy, Alabama. Christina, we met you there. Hey,
Yes.
see you there again.
I wish I was going. My car's still in the shop. So I've had a loaner for a whole month. They still can't figure out what's wrong with my car. I paid the $5,500. The problem still kept happening. So I told Volkswagen, I said, I paid you $5,000. Like you have to fix my car. Like I'm not going to pay you another dime. So they've had it for a month, and I don't feel comfortable, or I don't think it's right for me to drive my rental down to Alabama and back. So
I don't know. I honestly know that's a bit from Illinois. Absolutely.
I'm trying to be courteous since they let me buy or borrow the car for the time being. So
Understood.
God, you're so much kinder than so many other people. So everyone's like, hey, just make sure I pick the insurance when I rent it. Woohoo!
yeah, I just don't want them to say, hey, you put on 30,000 miles in 1 month. Like,
Yeah.
where did you go?
Where did you go? Everywhere.
Now you
went.
have to buy the car, and I'm like, no thanks,
Yeah.
I don't want to buy it.
Right, exactly. Like, oh God, what did I get myself into? Ashley was asking something that you touched on earlier, but didn't go into specifics. OFAs. What OFAs do you do on your Bulldogs?
Eyes, heart, trachea. What was the other one? Eyes, heart, trachea, spine, and I did 5. I can't remember the fifth one, but eyes, trachea, spine, heart. I'm gonna have to get back to you on the 5th one. But I did 5 for each of them.
Nice.
French and
That's
English.
a pretty penny.
Yes. I wasn't expecting it. I kind of wanted to see. I don't know if anybody else has done the OFA testing, but per dog, my vet charged me $1,000 just for the X-rays. So I'm not sure if that was fair or not. I think his pricing is a little bit more fair than what the normal vets around me charge. So I didn't really question him, but if your vet charges you less than that for 5 X-rays, let me know so I can tell him he's ripping me off. If you've paid less than that per dog, please let me know.
Please reach out to her.
So I can renegotiate with him, because I'm going in for another OFA next month, and I'm already bracing myself because I know it's going to be $1,000 plus whatever OFA charges, which is like $100 or $200.
Now, do you wait for the 2 year? Because I know that 2 years for hip,
Yes.
hip and
There's
elbow, but
there's my 5th one, hip and elbow. Thank you.
elbow. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm here all night.
Yeah.
Amanda with the assist.
She
So
loves
what? So is there any different time frame for like heart, or is it everything kind of 2 years?
Good question.
My vet said 2 years. He told me not to waste my money on prelim OFA, because a lot can happen in 2 years. People do prelims, 12 months, 18 months, 15 months. And then, something can happen to the heart, or they can break a leg, and now they can't test anymore because it's not the same. So he advised me to do 2 years. That's, I guess, in their professional opinion, when the dog stops growing fully, and they reach their full maturity. So 2 years is when he likes to do the full caboozle or whatever.
I love it. Okay. I was kind of hoping that was the answer, because again, just like you were saying, it's like, you're spending all this money beforehand. It's like, I could spend it all at once.
Yeah. And
Rob me once, okay? Just one time.
Right. I think when when both parents are already OFA tested, I don't know if you should do your puppies individually. I usually only do it to the ones that I'm going to keep in my breeding program. Obviously, I don't want to OFA test every puppy that I'm sending out. I feel like if your parents are OFA cleared, that just sets up the puppy for a good, outcome. Like you're crossing your T's and your I's. So the puppy should be good. Obviously, a lot can happen. Environmental stressors. I know bulldogs can have hip dysplasia, but I've come to understand that a lot of that has to do with the environment that they're in. If your dog is having the zoomies and it's running up and down the stairs and up and down the couch in circles for 30 minutes a day, that's 60 pounds landing on the front paws and jumping off the back paws. Like that's going to cause hip dysplasia. Like it's
That's
not
right.
all on the breeder. It's
Yes.
also on how you keep your dog.
Yeah, y'all may think it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
but just like that's a lot of,
that's
dang, think about the
a lot of weight.
impact on
Exactly. And then the dog's 3, 4 and oh, my dog has hip dysplasia. You sold me a sick dog. No, ma'am, I see your dog do zoomies online and you post it so I can see it. So I'm going to tell you that that's what happened to your dog and you're not going to want to hear it, but
all those cute videos stand now as your prosecution.
yes, like that's my evidence.
Zoomies.
Yes.
Oh man.
I don't let my dogs jump in and out of the car. I don't let my dogs jump on and off the couch. If the dog's gonna go on the couch, it's gonna sit on my lap and I'm gonna hold it. When I get up, you're gonna get up with me and I'm gonna put you on the floor. Frenchies have the IVVD thing.
Yeah.
That's another thing that my vet says crate rest can fix. You don't need to do these super expensive surgery.
No.
He likes to go crate rest and medication first before he even touches the spine. He says a lot of the times it's a pinched nerve. Like most of the vets want you to just
Work it out.
surgery,
Yep.
surgery, $7 grand, $8 grand, $10 grand, whatever. My vet says 1 to 2 weeks of crate rest, no movement at all, anti-inflammatories and whatever else he prescribes, and your dog should have a 100% comeback. So that's another thing that people with Frenchies should take note of. Like, if your vet is freaking you out, just find a second opinion first before you spend 10 grand.
Absolutely.
For real. Oh my gosh. No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm always weirded out because my pocket, he's so heavy. And I mean, while I know being 18 months old, joints, I don't, it's not like when they're puppies, the joints aren't completely, prepared for weight, but like I'm still so weird about like him trying to jump off of things. Like I'm still weird about it. So okay, I'm glad to see I'm not just paranoid and crazy. That's okay, good.
It saves you. I mean, even as puppies, their bones aren't fully fused until they're, older, 18, 15 months. So a puppy's paw can break, and that puppy paw will never be the same if it jumped off. And to us, the couch from the floor from the couch isn't a high jump, but from them, all that pressure and weight on those front paws just snaps them in half, and now you're going to the vet and getting a cast for what? Just pick them up, scoop them, scoop them.
Yeah, he's chunky. I need to weigh him. He's got to be like 70 some odd pounds now. He's a whole tater. He's a whole tater. But yeah, that's always. I mean, and our couch is actually not even a high set couch, and even then, I'm just like, every time he jumps off. Oh my god.
Or get the pet stairs. That's what I tell my clients all the time. If you don't want to pick up the dog, teach the dog to use the stairs to get on the couch. Like,
oh yeah, him heavy. I don't.
It will save you from hip dysplasia. It will save you from IVDD. It will save you from broken bones. Just spend the $40, unless you want to spend $10,000 at the vet. But then I don't want to hear you calling me complaining.
Man, tell him.
Oh, someone was saying about my Volkswagen. It's actually taking me, I have almost 200,000 miles on it, and it's taking me to these 17 states. So I think it's done pretty good for its job, I think.
Yeah, so dang you, Adam Fields.
Yeah, listen, Adam, for real.
17
I
states,
there's some people that have
200,000
some
miles.
Volkswagen, yeah, that have like lasted throughout the years. I can't remember which ones they were. So, but yeah, I
It's
mean,
done its
depends
job.
on how you care for it.
Yeah, I love it. I couldn't afford the Audi. I'm sorry. I had to go with the cheaper version, the one I could afford.
I well, don't get too like. I have friends that got Audis and then immediately traded them in. They don't like them. They don't like the way they drive. Like either like it's either the way you drive, you're driving it wrong, or you're driving it wrong. But at
Oh,
the same time,
somebody mentioned Nuvit vitamins. I use Nuvit vitamins too daily. Those are really good. I do like those. And I usually send my puppies home with them. My replacement puppy clause says that you have to keep the puppy in the same kind of like feeding schedule and level of care that I provided for it in the time that it was with me. If you can't do what I was doing, I can't replace the puppy for you. And Nuvit is one of those that I have on there.
I like that.
iron lad, I love it. I love that. That's a very good detail to put in there.
Yeah, it is.
Like I don't even know if I would have considered that, but dang.
Well, I
Love it.
mean, and it's good for them. I mean, it supports the joints. So we all know they're going to get achy as they grow older,
Yeah.
and if it's helping their immune system to keep away, the bad stuff, why not? I mean, we take vitamins and minerals. Why can't we give our dogs the same level of care?
Very.
Yes, and I like the puppy replacements in your contract. And then, yes, if you provide the same care, then we can talk.
That's fair.
Yep.
I agree.
Very fair.
And it has to be, every like I label it all out and I detail it for them, and then when they go to sign, I make them initial the lines where I talk about the puppy replacement, because a lot of people skim through it and then they sign it and then something happens and they're like, well, I didn't know I had to do the vitamins, or I didn't know I had to keep this on there. And I'm like, no,
You're like,
you initial next to the line
She is
twice on
she
two
is a
different sheets of
realtor
paper.
through and through. A realtor through and through.
yes,
Yes.
you know what you were doing. Damn, man,
Yes.
I
If
love it.
anybody needs help with contracts and language, let me know. I can help you there too.
Man,
Cool.
that is amazing. So if you guys haven't familiarized yourself with her yet, definitely do so. I know that I intend on obviously reposting the live after it's done, sharing it. Everybody that's watching, oh my gosh, like so much information has been provided. Christina is a wealth of knowledge. She has literally given out the secret sauce today. So, so definitely, if you've learned even so much as one thing, which hopefully, you learn something new every day, otherwise you're doing it wrong. But like if you learn something new today, for the love of God, go ahead and just share away and get other people, exposure to these things. Because I mean, the stuff that she's given us tonight could easily save a puppy, save a litter, save a dog. So I think that's definitely something you should want to definitely get in everybody's ears. So any parting wisdom or advice or anything along those lines, Miss Christina?
No, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate this. It was really fun. I had a good time having my brain picked. I don't think my brain gets picked enough, and I really do like sharing my knowledge
Yes.
with people and others that could benefit from it. So I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you for being here. The pleasure's been all ours. So you are good at being giving with your knowledge and experience. So we appreciate you.
Really do.
Thank
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Yes.
Yep.
God
Good night,
bless
guys.
you
All
all.
right. Good night.
You as well.
All right.
Have a good rest of your night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.